working on my camera.
Hey. Hey, you can see me?
Yeah. Alright, get out of here.
No.
Bro. Fast Ferris. Now I want pizza, bro.
Now you want it?
Favorite kind of pizza?
My favorite kind of pizza? Security guard. I don't really know what to consider this class besides being somewhat of a stunner and a debuffer, though I'm calling them a debuffer lightly, given they inflict status effects on the killer. You're basically a support, I guess you could say. That's what the game also considers the security guard to be, so I suppose that is a better, I guess, description for what this class truly is. You're a pretty crucial class during a round. You can help your teammates by stopping the killer and allowing that survivor to regain their stamina, or if they made a mistake, give them another chance to, escape. You also help with tracking the killer for both yourself and your teammates by using the cams. Very useful in situations for killers like the doppelganger, or if you have no idea where the killer is. The cams also typically auto-switch to the camera the killer is on, so don't worry about flipping through every single one just to find the killer. But enough talk, let's get into the stats and abilities. When playing as security guard, you only have 100 HP, but you do have 25 overheal stacked on top of that. Overheal is that purple bar you'll see above your normal HP bar. Overheal can only be gained from 2 ways right now, which is from playing security guard, or from medics if you're already over 100 HP and they heal you. Your walk speed is 12, your run speed is 24, and your stamina is 100. Typical stats in these departments. Taser is your first ability. This will allow you to charge up a taser shot in order to give this killer debuffs. Do be aware that while you do slow down the killer after you hit them, you yourself also slow down upon making the shot, nearly to a complete halt. You also gain a little bit of speed upon pressing the ability key, but you will begin moving slower the more you charge. Upon firing, you will inflict the killer with slowness for around 3 seconds. The slowness debuff will always happen regardless of the charge, but will extend in time for longer charges. Slowness is fairly self-explanatory, in which it just slows the killer down, and slowness is the only debuff you'll be given the killer when you're below the green bar. Upon going above the green bar, you will inflict the killer with another debuff on top of slowness. This debuff is Dazed. Dazed basically makes the killer's screen very blurry, and this will last for around 5 seconds. Secondly, upon going above the yellow bar, you will inflict the killer with Confusion, and once again, slowness. This debuff inverts the controls of the killer. Basically, pressing W would make them go backwards and pressing X would make them go forward, and this will last for around 7 seconds. Finally, upon reaching the final red bar, you will inflict the killer with Silence, which this debuff will disable the killer's M1 and ability usage, and once again, granting slowness on top of all that. This will last for around 9 seconds. Do be aware, none of these stack with each other. For example, going above the yellow bar doesn't mean you'll be inflicting Daze just because you're above the green bar. You'll only be inflicting Confusion and slowness instead. Other than that, there's not much else I can say about the taser, so let's go ahead and move on to the next ability. Cams is your second ability. Upon pressing the ability key, you'll flip up a tablet that has multiple cameras you can choose from. You can click these cameras or press A and D on your keyboard to switch between them. You can also zoom in with your scroll wheel and look around on the cameras with your mouse. Once the camera is up, you'll be able to see the killer, survivors, and generators surrounded by a box. This box will be a different color depending on what you're looking at. You're able to click that box, and upon doing so, it will highlight that specific thing. Pretty sure at the moment you can only highlight the killer and generators. This highlight works for both you and any teammates close to you for up to 5 seconds. Upon clicking the box, or just holding up the tablet, it will use a percentage of your battery, though this battery will recharge while the tablet is down and not in use. Do note that the camera will always try to find the closest camera to the killer, basically automatically swapping to the correct camera for easy tracking, though sometimes it does mess up and will show a completely separate room from where the killer is. Pretty sure that's all I can say for the cams right now. Let's go ahead and move on. Security guard is fairly good. A lot of people say they suck, but in my opinion, I don't really see it. I guess they could struggle in LMS and being self-sufficient in chase, but outside of that, I haven't personally had any struggles playing this class. Whenever I struggled, it was because I was playing poorly and being too much in the killer's face, which for a security guard is not what you want to be doing. You want to be keeping your distance. If you aren't above the red bar with your charge, the killer can still hit you, if they walk close enough to you, that is. The taser has a pretty decent range, so you don't really have to be in the face of the killer to hit them. Once you do hit the shot, you should start backing away, since your taser stays on the killer depending on how long you charge for, and this taser shot will also persist through the wall, so you do not have to stay out in the open. The battery consumption for the cams is honestly a bit cosmetic, unless you spam mark the killer. Marking the killer once is really useful and wastes like 1 bar of battery, which easily just comes back when you're not using the cams. With that being said, don't mark killers unless you truly are curious where they are. You make a pretty loud beeping sound that can alert the killer to your position upon marking them. Kind of an eye for an eye situation, if the killer is close enough to you, that is. The cams are also really good for letting you get a sightline of the action, so you could possibly go and save a teammate if they need it. I should note that this class is very good when combined with Fighter, or possibly even Technician, the most recently added class, considering you three are meant to be pestering the killer and kind of acting as a distraction in a way. I don't think I really have anything else I can say about the security guard, but if you guys want to add on to anything I said, or even correct me, you can do so in the comments below. But other than that, let's go ahead and get this over with. Well, I hope you found this useful in your games. Security guard is very good for just kind of being an annoyance to the killer, but I could see how they struggle a bit in chase, since the taser will only do so much for them. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I mentioned in the last video, feel free to correct me or even add on to anything I said in the comments. If you want, of course. But that's all for now. I'll be back for Fighter next. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, night, or maybe evening. And I'll see you later.